Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Midwest Sound, brought to you by Homeroom Show Choir, as always. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It has been a while. It has been since November, I believe. It's been a long time. As I told you guys in the last episode, I am in college now, and little did I know that immediately after I posted that episode, I would become possibly the most busiest person to ever exist, ever, including finals, including juries, including work. So I severely apologize for the late post, but I'm here. We're back. I'm excited. We just had the first competition, major competition at least, of the season, which took place in Ohio. We had the Beavercreek Midwest Show Choir Classic. So I took some notes on this on my phone as I watched the live stream. I wasn't able to go to the actual competition, but the live stream was good enough quality that I could pick up on what was going on for each group. So I was able to take notes on almost all of the groups throughout the day. So get excited for that. There were a couple other competitions that happened throughout the Midwest in Iowa, Kansas. I'm just going to touch on them really quickly. But this weekend, on January 24th, we have our very first Indiana competition. Yay! I'm so excited, guys. I'm actually really excited. It is the Anderson A-Town Showdown, which takes place in Anderson, Indiana, which happens to be about 25 minutes away from Ball State University, which is where I currently reside. So you best believe I'm going to be getting my little booty over there and watching all the groups all day, hopefully all the way until the end of finals. But I'm for sure going to be there for the day show, so I'm going to be getting notes on all the different groups. I'm really excited. My high school that I'm from, Edgewood, they're actually competing at this competition, so I'm going to get to support my hometown friends, and I'm really excited. But yeah, let's just hop straight into the video. I'm really excited for this episode. It's an exciting day. Things are coming and happening, and I'm really excited. But don't forget to check out the Instagram for Midwest Sound. If you haven't, it's not a huge deal. I try to do posting on there, but it's already hard enough to get the episodes out. So if you don't follow, it's not a big deal. Most of the information and updates and stuff that I give out are through the podcast itself. A big note, though, if you have friends that are in show choir, if you just have family members or relatives or directors even that you think would be interested in hearing about the podcast, listening to it, let them know. Like, spread the word about this, because that's really the only way that more people listen to it and get excited about it. And the more comments and likes and listens that I get, it really helps to like reach out to people or get in contact with different people. Interaction really helps let me know what the audience wants, what you guys want to hear about. So I've heard many other people like reach out and say, hey, could you do an episode on another state's kind of circuit? And I'm always down to do that, especially if it's in the Midwest. It's really interesting to do that. If you guys want an episode on me talking about show choir camps of America, and yes, I had to add the clap. Let me know about that. Stuff like that. So don't be afraid to leave a comment. But with that, let's jump straight into the episode. So this past weekend, we had one Midwestern competition in Ohio, the Beavercreek Midwest Show Choir Classic. So I'm just going to go through the competition list, and I'm going to give you guys a rundown on the different groups that I watched and how they placed and just all the different things. So I'm going to begin with prelim placements, and then I'll let you know about each show after that. So in the large mixed division, in first place with Best Crew and Best Costumes was Soul and Music in Motion. In second place was Noblesville NHS Singers. Third place with Best Band was Loveland by Request. Fourth place was Pequot the Company. Fifth place was Hurricane Red Hot. And then unknown placements were Lebanon Singers and Hamilton Prestige. In the small mixed division, first place went to Bishop Dwenger Summit Sound, second went to West Jessamine Duly Noted, third went to South Dearborn Opening Night, and fourth went to Benjamin Logan Standing Ovation. In the treble division, first place went to Loveland Allure, second went to Noblesville New Dimension, and third went to Hurricane Heat Wave, with fourth going to West Jessamine Fortissima. So this was just prelims. They did take, I believe it was 6 finalists into the mixed finals It actually wasn't a mixed finals. I just lied. It was a combined finals. So they just took top 6 scores throughout the whole competition. So there was actually one single gender group that made it in, but I will get to that in a little bit. First, I'm going to talk about some of the groups that I got the opportunity to watch. Now, I'm just going to let you guys know this is going to be in performance order because it's just how I wrote it down and it's easier for my brain to look at. But I just kind of bullet pointed everything. So I unfortunately missed the Benjamin Logan standing ovation performance because the live stream had already, I don't know if it was running for them at that point because I believe they're the first group to perform, but I was able to catch Bishop Dwenger. So Bishop Dwenger was really cool. They had a fun pirate theme and they had a really interesting set. They had this big like ship sail set piece in the background. It was really interesting. They were a lot bigger than in years past, like a lot bigger. I remember a couple years ago, they literally had to cancel their competition because they didn't have, it was either because of weather or it was because they didn't have enough kids in the program to run the competition. I just know that Edgewood was a pretty big fan of the Bishop Dwenger competition, and unfortunately we just haven't been able to go for multiple years. But yeah, so it was really interesting. They did have some intonation issues throughout the show, but they were pretty heavy during the ballad, and the other songs, they weren't as noticeable. And there were also some like random solos throughout the show. But like I said, it was interesting. It was pretty well put together. The costumes were fun. Like I said, the theme, pirates, like that's always going to be fun. But yeah, that's all the notes I had on Bishop Dwenger. Next, I watched Hurricane Heatwave. There are so many of them. There are 81 girls in this choir. Insane. That is crazy. I did comment that they have really cute costumes. I like them. The set moves, which is cool. They had a pretty solid trio costume change number. And I really loved how they incorporated the getaway drive, like the getaway drive of their show as the song. But their closer kind of felt anticlimactic. And I mentioned a getaway drive because the theme was like having a heist basically in this like vault. It just, all of them are planning a heist, and then in the end, in the closer, or I believe it was the song before the closer, they have a song about the getaway drive, like getting, I just thought normally the show ends on when the group like retrieves whatever it is, or you guys know what I'm talking about. But in this, they actually included the getaway drive and like getting the gems or whatever. It was pretty interesting. The next group I watched was Loveland Allure. They had a really cute theme about breaking out of the stereotypical female role. Thought it was interesting. Definitely done before, but it's still always fun to see like girl power shows. I just think they're fun. They're a good watch, and it's really easy for facials and like just the girls in general to get into it, which is nice. Like it's good to see people really participating in the character of the show. Not the screen. I was sad about the screen, but it's okay. I didn't love the ballad solo, but it more so was just kind of like an odd solo. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily the soloist's fault. It's just kind of a weird song, I did not like the blend of the costume change trio. There were many trios throughout this day. But specifically this trio, they just had a little bit of like clashing voices, and it just, I don't know. When you have a lot of girls, like this is a large single gender group, it is sometimes odd to see like a soloist or something and you're like, I wonder if there was someone else in there. But you never know. They had a fun closer medley. It was Grease Lightning and She Works Hard for the Money. I like that a lot, and I think that their choreo was super cute. Now, the next group I watched was Noblesville New Dimension. The first thing I noticed in the opener specifically was that they're really soprano heavy, and this kind of flowed throughout the show. It did get better, but I think it's just that first song I was like, oh, sopranos, where are the altos? But it's okay. They had a quirky second song, but it was really cute, about blessing the show. Guys, this show is a roller coaster, let me tell you. Please, if you can find a YouTube video. It was fun. The ballad, their director, I believe their director, or at least a conductor of sorts, came out onto the stage and conducted the ballad, in a priest robe. Yep, because remember the second song, they blessed their show? Yep, third song, they're getting blessed. Oh my god, I was in tears watching this. This is so funny. I really liked the blend in the ballad. Like, really liked it. The ballad was very gorgeous. And props to them. It sounded, like I said, it was soprano heavy in the beginning of the show. As it got to the ballad, I was like, ooh, they're meshing real good right now. Like, this sounds really good. So the ballad was a really good number. And then they had their costume change. And this is what I wrote. I literally said, wait, so we're glittery nuns now? Guys, what are we doing? They came out in bedazzled nun costumes. I'm sorry, it's just so fun. I love it. I love it. I love it and I hate it, you know? But, you know, get it. The next group I watched was West Jessamine Fortissima. I really like their costumes. They're really cutie. Girl, that first soloist, I wrote this down as well. Girl, that first soloist ate boots down. Yeah, she did. This is a group of 17 girls, mind you. 17. There's 17 of them on that stage. I've been in a group of 27. That's the smallest I've ever been in. And even then, it felt like we were struggling to get sound out. 10 less people on that stage. Oh, they were blasting it. And every single soloist in that show, amazing. Amazing. So good. Their sound is really clear, and they had a really good blend for the amount of people on stage. The quartet, I thought it was funny because the whole day there had been trios for the costume change, but this group had a quartet, which is ironic because obviously they're a smaller group, but they have more people on stage for the costume change. I don't know. I just thought it was fun. All the soloists were amazing. Again, I wrote that down twice. They all can sing. I just wish they had a little bit more energy, like visually, you know? This was definitely a group full of singers rather than dancers. Not that their dancing was bad, but you could just see visually, like, some of the people on stage, they're giving it their all vocally, but choreographically, sometimes they just fall a little bit flat, you know? Either way, really fun watch, and I just was cheering them on the whole time because I'm a big advocate for smaller groups, so it was like, oh, yes, this is so fun, I love it. So next, I watched South Dearborn opening night. They had a really cool, it opened with like a Twilight Zone theme, and I was like, oh, cool. Like, are they gonna like reenact some of the episodes or something? Like, I was really interested. I really liked the first soloist. The girls need to project more, though. So this is everything I noticed in just like the first song of the show. Just like, Solos was amazing, but the girls kind of like fell beneath the guys' vocals throughout most of the show, and I was a little sad. The band was also covering a lot of their vocals, which was sad because I really want to hear them, you know? Like, I don't know, I was a little sad, and this was also, like, kind of a reoccurring issue throughout the day, and maybe it was just on the live stream. Like, obviously, the live stream isn't truthful to the actual live performance. I wish I could have been there, but, you know, at least from my end of the screen, I'm just hearing a lot of murky vocals with like a blasting band. Like I said, this could just be a live stream problem and not actually an event problem. So I'm not sure, but just the band was covering their vocals a little bit. Wow, that ballad soloist, to die for. Oh my god. The vocals are pretty, but they're really, really forward during the ballad. And I noticed this like near the end. I was like, oh, sometimes it sounds maybe a little not specifically shouty, but like bright, you know? But I'm really, really glad that the band wasn't too hot during the ballad. Like, I could hear what they were saying. It sounded really pretty. I really liked it. The closer felt a little bit slow. You know, especially the song before the closer, I was like, are we slowing down? I'm a little confused, but it was fine. And then finally during the closer, I realized, oh, it's not a Twilight Zone theme. It is, unfortunately, a TV Through the Years sort of theme, and I'm just dumb. So normally I pick up on themes really easily, but this one was just like, they just hit so hard with the Twilight theme at the beginning. I was like, oh, the whole show's going to be this theme. And it wasn't. And then I was kind of confused where it was going during like the ballad and then the costume change. I was like, what's the theme now? And then I realized, like, oh, it's TV through the years. The next group I watched was Lebanon Singers. I actually really like the funky white and black dresses that the girls are in at the beginning of the show. I thought they were really fun. And they're like, I don't know, just something about it, like the movement in them, it looked cool. It kind of looked like an octopus or something. They had a really cool opening medley. It was really fun, like listening to that. Vocals were really, really, really forward and bright sounding throughout most of their show. And I mean, that could just be a technical direction from like the director. But that also could like say something about the group's age, or it could say something about the experience level of the group. Like it really could be a number of things. And like you've heard through some of these other groups, it might not be their fault. I don't know. It could be, but it's a common factor. So, cool opening medley, vocals very forward. I like that their second number is Golden Hour, which is in, I believe, 3/4 time. I don't know. Guys, I'm still learning music theory right now. Have grace. But it was a waltz. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, as a waltz is. So I like that they're in these like formal dresses and they're dancing to a newer song, but it's in the time of waltz. It was fun. I really liked it. It was a smart move to have a soloist during the whole guys number. Really smart move, because there's only 9 of them. I've seen smaller groups, but there were 9 of them on stage, and they decided to have a soloist with no backup vocals throughout the whole costume change, just so that it wasn't very obvious of how quiet they were without the girls on stage. And that can actually like really be used to your advantage. Another girls trio. At this point, I was tired of it. I was like, please, no more. And it wasn't necessarily bad. Like, their singing isn't bad. It's just like I get really tired of girls trios because I like soloists more. I'm gonna be honest. There, said it. It was an interesting color combo for the second costumes. Pretty interesting. Lots of shows having to do with jewels or diamonds. I'm pretty sure their theme was like jewels, different color jewels and stuff. And I'm wondering, that's such an odd theme to have. It's weird that it's happened like twice now at the same competition. But next I watched West Jessamine, Duly Noted. I said, okay, all black, I see you, because they open in all black costumes. Thought they were cute. Really good vocals for a group size. Like, really good. They had nice sound. Holy wow. That first guy soloist, I was melting and like, oh my god. I was watching it on my phone, and I was sitting on the floor of my room, obviously, as one does. And I listened, and I literally was just like, oh my god. Amazing. So good. Their choreo is really classically show choir. Like, it's just basic show choir. And I'm not even gonna lie, I kind of liked it. It's fun to go back to your roots. Their choreo, like I said, classic show choir. If you've only got 4 guys in your mixed choir and all of them get solos, and specifically you give all of them solos for the costume change, you are doing something right. Because let me tell you, all 4 of them, they were singing harmonies because they had a quartet during the costume change of just all the guys that are in the group. There's only 4 of them. And they were hitting harmonies. They were doing a little dance. They were having fun on that stage. They were like able to stay in time and rhythm with each other. I was just like, man, you've only got 4 guys in this choir and all of them are like talented. Good for you. I wish. Like, it was really good. It was enjoyable. The electric guitar and the costume change number eats. I said that. And I really liked it. And then I just mentioned how throughout the show there were some blocking issues, especially near the end, but sometimes you just can't help that. So, the next group I watched was Hamilton Prestige. I opened with such a cute Peter Pan theme. And then I had mentioned how I'm pretty sure they were either barefoot or they have jazz shoes on, which I just mentioned that because it's kind of like still a taboo thing to do in the Midwest, to have like not classical character heels on, Then I mentioned how they have more pirates. So pirates is also a common theme. They have a cool ballad choice, which they sang Somewhere Only We Know, which is fun. And then I finished with costumes are a choice. But we move on. Hurricane Red Hot. Holy set. Oh my gosh. Insane. curtains opened and I was like, boom, oh my God, crazy. It was a lot, but I really liked it. It was the first big, like, loud group of the day, and I enjoyed it. It's nice to hear, like, a bigger group. The band was so good. They were a little bit hot, but when you have that many people on stage, it's okay, I guess, to be a little hot sometimes. They had really cool choreo, especially with their photo props, and their theme was like this haunted house theme, basically. So the choreo was really, like, funky and not normal. They got on the ground a lot. They had a lot of floor choreo. I enjoyed that. I really like that they have funky choreo to match the funky music, because the music also was a little bit interesting. I love the moving chair during the guys' number. I mentioned that. One thing I was a little confused about is, what is the theme other than spooky or like haunted house? I mean, and it's okay if it's nothing further than that, because you know what? That's fun. Certain parts of the ballad were a little shouty. I mentioned that, but I still enjoyed it. And then I said I love that the band came on stage in skeleton jumpsuits. It's so cute. I love that. The next group I watched was Loveland by Request. They had a really cool and fun, interesting rock and roll theme. They had really clean choreo, as always. Loveland is Loveland. They had super fun medleys. Like, it was just like rock and roll over time, and it was just, loved it. Yes, fun ballad duet. And shout out Paxton. Yes, King. Wait, snaps to him. I can't snap on my left hand. That's really weird. That's sad. Hold up. Snaps on my right hand. Try my best, guys. No, but Paxton, he was in, I don't know if he was ever in my SCA group, but he was around. No, he was in my SCA group my first year that I went. And he's from Loveland, as you guys can probably tell. And he has the most gorgeous voice. Oh my God. It's literally like butter. I don't know. It's the only way I can explain it. But he has, I'm pretty sure for like 2 or 3 years now, he's gotten the ballad solo in Loveland's by Request. And last year, I'm pretty sure he went undefeated with Best Soloist in a Show awards throughout the whole season, which is insane. But he's amazing, so go him. They had an interesting 7 Nation Army medley. I just mentioned that. The choreo in general was super fun and exciting. I liked how it had a lot of energy throughout it. The vocals were clean. They were really clean, but they were kind of plain. And I mentioned how it was a pretty basic Loveland set, but it was enjoyable. It was fun, and it's nice to see them kind of up on the rise a little bit again. Just because in years past it's kind of been the last 2 years iffy, but I think they're on the up and up again. So I'm excited. Next, I watched Peak with a Company. They did have some intonation issues. Little bits of choreo were like a little messy, but overall it was pretty good. Their second song was basically them making fun of show choir, and there were a lot of mixed opinions in the show choir community when we saw this when this was live, you know. But I thought it was fun, you know. Like, they could have a lot of fun with it, you know. The jazz hands were going crazy in the ballad, or ballad hands as people call them. No way they brought trampolines onto the stage for their guys' number. I was laughing. I was like, are they really having the guys jump on trampolines right now? This is so funny. They did the fog thing like Lafayette Jeff, which I thought was cool. And then I also mentioned at the end, I'm a little confused what's going on, but it's pretty fun. LOL. Yeah. And that about sums up their whole show. Moving on. Noblesville NHS Singers. Before you all start coming at me and leaving comments on this episode talking about how, like, Noblesville was so good, blah, blah, blah. I get it. I'm sorry if I offended you all last year, but here's the thing. I know what I said, but you know what? I was right. So I don't want to hear it. Noblesville. I wrote, their choreo eats, but the vocals aren't blending, which is, maybe it was also just a live stream. It was kind of like an intonation issue throughout the whole day a little bit, so maybe it wasn't their fault. I did really notice, however, that certain voices were really sticking out throughout the show. But it wasn't horrible. It wasn't anything I'm like, oh my god, that person's voice. It was just like, oh, there's an alto. Oh, there's a soprano really getting at it. Ooh, there's a tenor. Just stuff like that. But it happens every now and then. I didn't mention how I don't love the red on the purple and blue. But, it is what it is. I do believe that those are reused costumes that they're in. They don't have a costume change. So, they've done that before in years past. But sometimes I wish I could see a costume change, especially if the costume is just like, I've seen it before, or maybe it's not meshing together well, like the color combo. But it didn't bother me too much. Yes, I love the Shrek song as one of their songs, and I also mentioned how they had really cool blocking throughout the show, really like visually stimulating and interesting, and it fit the parts of their song. I believe Eric and Mara, I say them like I know them. I do know them, but Eric Hayes and Mara Cover, I believe they choreographed them this year like they normally do, and they always give them such cool and interesting blocking. I really like that. They had really fun choreo during therapy from Tick Tick Boom. I thought that was fun. They're trying really hard to recreate 2022, which is probably their most popular show they've ever put on, and it hurts a little bit. It hurts in like a good way sometimes, because it's like, I really love that show. I was the same as everyone else. That's still, if you go to showcore.com, it's literally listed as my favorite show ever. Like, Noblesville 2022. But it just sometimes feels like, oh, you're hurting me by trying to recreate it, But we continue. The ballad choreo is really fun. Some people have different opinions. I think ballad choreo can be exciting, because ballads sometimes get boring, so fun. And then finally I said fun closer choreo, no costume change. I was a little confused at the end of the show, because I was like, it's over? Where's the second costume? But it's all right. Finally, Solon Music in Motion. I said, wow, okay, costumes and backdrop, I see you. I love how fluid and fun their choreo is. It's so fun to watch them dance. I don't know, Solon can just like break it down. I don't know, I just really like it. The band arrangement goes crazy during the dance breaks. The band is like really going at it, and I enjoy that. I didn't know I needed a jazz groovy version of Should I Stay or Should I Go? But I really liked it. I really, really loved the ballad arrangement. It was so pretty. And they had an electric guitar player come out during the ballad. Oh, man, they know how to get to my heart. Then I said, yes, please. Literal chills on the step out in the ballad. So good. And the soloist was just so gorgeous. Guys, I'm in love with Solon. I also mentioned how there's so much sound coming from the guys, especially during the guys number. And then I was like, so we're going into the woods, ? And then I realized that the theme is, their backdrop is trees, and they had gates over it, but I didn't realize that at first. I had a really hard time picking up on themes yesterday, but no, they had these like trees that had like draped cloths over them, and they had this like fence thing over them, and I didn't realize it until the gate came down that the entire point of the show was them wanting to like venture out of their comfort zone into the woods, and then the gate came down, and then they were like, oh, we're free, it's great to be free, freedom. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. There's a random trio of couples dancing in the front during their closer, I believe, and I was a little weirded out by that just because it felt kind of random. But, that's the choreographer's choice, so not my decision. But the last note that I left on this was I really wish that they did Into the Woods, from Into the Woods, just so that it was a little bit more clear. I hate to be that person that doesn't pick up on like thematic details, but I was really struggling yesterday. I don't know what it was, but I do wish they included that, so I was just a little bit more clear on the theme. And with that, those are all the groups that I watched yesterday. So, let's move on to the finals placements. In the finals, they took 6 groups. They included 1 single-gender group, which was Loveland Allure. So, in first place, taking home grand champion, was Solon Music in Motion. Yay! In second place with Best Vocals was Noblesville NHS Singers. Yippee! In third place with Best Choreography and Best Band, you heard that. Grand Champion didn't take Best Vocals or Best Choreo. That went to second and third. In third place with Best Choreo and Best Band went to Loveland by Request. Fourth place went to Piqua the Company. Fifth went to Hurricane Red Hot. And sixth went to Loveland Allure. So, what a competition. What a way to start off the competition season. It was really exciting. I enjoyed it. It was a fun day. Some of the other competitions that I'm going to mention that took place this last weekend was the Benton A Touch of Class competition in Iowa with Grand Champion Ankeny Visual Adrenaline. Yay! In, I believe it's Kansas, there was the Blue Valley Tiger Takedown with Grand Champion Johnston Innovation. Go check them out. I've heard lots of good things about them. The next competition I'm going to talk about is the Glenwood Gala. Took place in Iowa, and the grand champion of that competition was Hastings Uncaged, in all caps. So, gotta include that. The next competition was the Muscatine River City Showcase. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And the grand champion of that competition was the Davenport Northside Establishment. And finally, the last competition I'm just going to mention really quick is the Walkie Starstruck competition that took place in Iowa with grand champion Ankeny Centennial Spectrum. So, lots of names we've heard before, lots of groups around the Midwest that travel. Some don't, but it is what it is. But yeah, really, really exciting weekend. And now, let's move on to the upcoming competitions of the weekend. All right, let's jump right in. We have our very first Indiana competition of the 2026 season coming up on January 24th. And this competition is the Anderson A-Town Showdown, which I'm really excited for. I'm going to be there. So if you guys are popping out or if you're competing, let me know. Or just find me in the crowd. I'm going to be probably wearing either some sort of Edgewood merch or possibly my podcast merch. We'll see. We'll see what I'm feeling on the day. But yes, I'm going to be there. So let's start up with the lineup. In the large mixed division, there is Edgewood Music Warehouse, Newcastle Red Hot Blues, Glenwood Titan Fever, and Columbus North Vocal Point. In the small mixed division, there is Garrett Encore, Bishop Lore's Minstrels, South Dearborn Opening Night, Columbus East Center Stage, Norwell Night Moves, and Lebanon Charisma. What fun. In the large treble division, there is Edgewood Sophisticated Ladies, Newcastle Dynamics, Westfield Illumination, and Columbus North Stars. And finally, in the small treble division, there is Glenwood Titan Flame and Norwell Night Stars. So, pretty exciting lineup, not too big, just a pretty neutral competition, so it'll be fun. I will also mention that they are taking 3 treble finalists and 5 mixed finalists into the night show. So this is going to be a fun, exciting competition to kick off the season with finals. That's cool. So I'm going to go ahead and get my predictions in. So starting with the mixed finalists, I think in no specific order, I think they're going to take Edgewood Music Warehouse. I think they're going to take Newcastle Red Hot Blues. I think they're going to take Glenwood Titan Fever, Columbus North Vocal Point, and I think they're going to take Lebanon Charisma from the small division. But I guess we'll see. And I think Grand Champion will go to Newcastle with Best Choreo. And I believe they're probably going to have some kind of story show. And I think second place is going to go to Glenwood with Best Vocals. Just because from what I've seen in the past, they start off a little bit, and then throughout the season, Glenwood really tightens up and gets better. So I don't know. It'll be exciting. I don't. It's been a long time since many of these choirs have been against Glenwood, so it'll be interesting to see where this goes. In the single gender division, I think that the 3 finalists that are going to be taken into the night show are Westfield Illumination, Newcastle Dynamics, and Columbus North Stars. I'm really interested to see how this plays out because specifically there's 2 sets of 2. I'm really excited to see how Westfield fares against Newcastle. just because Westfield was on a kick for a second there, and then they kind of last year. I'm waiting to see what happens this year. Newcastle, they're always pretty solid. They go into the season a little bit rougher than they come out, but that's how every group is. But no, I'm excited to see how they fare against each other, and then I'm really excited to see how Columbus North fares against Edgewood, because I will say, in years past, it's always been a back and forth. There have been multiple competitions or like seasons where Columbus will beat Edgewood earlier, and then later Edgewood will beat Columbus. Who knows? So I do think for sure, though, Newcastle and Westfield are going into the night show, and then it's going to be a battle for that third spot between Edgewood and Columbus North. But for my predictions, I think that grand champion is going to go to Newcastle. We'll see if I'm right. I'm really interested to see what is going to happen there. So finally, for the upcoming comps, I know I just only talked about one, but there is another one taking place in Ohio. It is the North Royalton Showdown. I'm not going to go into detail on this one, but I am going to mention that Bishop Dwenger, Summit Sound, is going to be attending this competition. So if you guys want to pop out there, if you're closer, or if there's a live stream, go check that out. Give them some love. That would be really, really appreciated. But yeah, that is all that is coming up this weekend. There are definitely a lot of other competitions happening in the Midwest, but just specifically near Indiana, those are probably the most notable ones. And yeah, that is it for this upcoming weekend. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It means the world to me. Like, seriously, it means so much that you guys tune in. And I'm just so excited for this season. It's the first season that I'm actually going to get to like lock in and pay attention to the show choir rather than the competition of it all, because as I've said, I'm not in high school anymore. So I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to Anderson this weekend. I'm going to be at Edgewood's Contest of Champions the following weekend. And then after that, we'll see where the wind takes me. Yeah, it's interesting. I do have some friends attending the Homestead competition, so maybe I'll get some inside information from that. We shall see. And hopefully coming up, we're going to have some guests on. It really is dependent on everyone's free time, I guess. Thank you all again so much for tuning in, and I hope that your week is filled with show choir. Do not forget to spray hairspray on the bottom of your character shoes. Bye-bye.